pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, first thing, we have 2 sets of minutes to do. So let's do our normal board minutes, and then we'll approve them, or disapprove it, or change it, and then we'll do our stuff. So I need a motion.
I make a motion to approve the regular meeting minutes from the March business meeting.
I'll second that.
Second. Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Then we'll do one for the special meeting.
I make a motion to accept the special meeting minutes for March.
I'll second it. Those in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? General bills.
Let's see here, I audited the general bills. We had a couple of bigger ones in there. But I'm gonna make a motion to move through, let's see here, vouchers number 75 through 98, totaling $13,588.32.
Need a second?
A second.
Second. Any discussion?
What are the bigger bills this month?
One of the bigger ones we had, we had a $4,700 bill to the New York State Comptroller's office. Is that a reoccurring bill every month?
Yeah, but it's a different amount every month.
Oh,
That's
okay.
what they take in.
Yeah, so that's the largest one. And then we talked about why we're still paying for long distance. That's it though.
Any other discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Highway bills.
Highway bills. I'm gonna break them up into 2 parts tonight, guys. We're gonna do vouchers 40 through 56 minus voucher 43 for $2,840.35. So vouchers 40 through 56 minus voucher 43 total $16,401.15. So I make a motion that those vouchers minus voucher 23 or 43 be paid in the amount of $16,401.15.
Need a second?
I'll second it.
Discussion? Those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay.
Okay, the one I pulled out, I need special scrutiny on it, so I'm gonna run through it. I will make the motion that we pay voucher 43 for $2,840.35 to Homer Iron Works. Regarding a truck repair, backup documentation is 3 people were called, Tracy Road Equipment to do this repair. They were 6 months out in scheduling. That's point 1. Point 2, Beck's Equipment was called, unable to perform the work as needed. And a quote from Cortland Chrysler Dodge in the amount of, okay, you're gonna have to make me do this, aren't you? 670 plus 200 plus 240. $5,865. So given that, with the quote we got for $5,865, and 2 other businesses unable to do the work or do the work in a timely manner, I would vote that, I would offer the motion that we pay Homer Iron Works $2,840.35 and keep track of the special account under which we can do this motion because of our audit a while back. Does everybody get what I just said?
Yeah.
Because I started to lose it at the end.
I think we got a deal.
Okay. Ultimately, that's what we got, okay? But we took care of the audit requirements and regulations. So we can do that under the exemption. I offer that under that line item for 284035.
So we have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, now I'm not voting, so you need, those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? That would be a no, or just a. Monthly reports. So need a motion to accept the chief's, clerk, code, highway, dog, and supervisor. Receive and file.
I will make a motion to receive and file chief's, clerk, code, highway, dog, and supervisor reports for March.
Second.
Any discussion on them? Those in favor of receiving and file, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Alright, privilege of the floor.
You
Yes.
see, we're gonna talk about the variance time thing again.
Yes.
I think the 1 year's too short, or not enough time for people to do what they gotta do.
Okay.
Took me 7 months just to get started on my house, so if I couldn't get the contractor, in the 3 months, I'd have been done. 3-4 months, you know what I'm saying? So I think 5 years maybe, but a year is just too short for most people.
Okay.
So that's all I have to.
Okay. Who else? Okay. What's that? Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see.
Yeah, I have a question about the mixture for the roads in the winter months with salt and sand.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any way we could change that? If you go just across the town line, those roads are clear and bare.
Excuse me 1 second.
Yeah.
This is Katie. Kevin, would you run down and open the door? Katie Sullivan is down there. It must be the front door. Front door.
Your other front.
The other front.
He's trying to get fired. We're not doing it.
Kyle, you want to address that, please?
Elaborate on this and answer your question. I'm Kyle
Okay.
Dean, Town
How you doing?
Superintendent.
Yes.
So we are changing, Mike and I have had some discussions about this. I took over on the 1st of January. We've had plenty of complaints and plenty of discussion on this.
Okay.
So yes, next year, we're gonna be doing a 50-50 mix
Okay.
of salt and, well, the aggregate would be, it's probably gonna end up being B grit or 1Bs for our tractor. Absolutely. This year was magnified, there was so much sand on the roads because we had used 3 times the amount this winter because
Right. In the winter was a lot
the
longer.
winter was a lot longer.
Thank you, Kevin. Sorry,
Everybody,
she's not-
so last year, we all spoke up and we were gonna do it this year and it never happened. Right. So moving ahead, absolutely.
It's kind of nice little slow dump cars.
So the one thing that, you know, like I said, even though the roads aren't there, we use
She wants to speak.
aggregate because it's so much cheaper than salt. It's environmentally more friendly. So we thought last year, Mike and I discussed this, why don't we go to a 50-50 mix? It'll be a happy medium. We'll try it. We won't be, because switching to all salt in a 1 year step like that would be risky, because we're not used to it. But yes, the state, Cortlandville, the county, all use salt. Salt's a different animal, just pure salt. They have 24-hour crews. We'd have to add another crew, another truck.
Well, it has absolutely nothing to do with the guys that are doing the job. The guys are doing a great job to keep the roads
Appreciate
open.
that, yeah.
They're doing a great job. And
Appreciate
the hours they
that.
put in, so.
Yeah,
I understand all
we're trying every day. We're looking for, thank you for coming and is
Yeah.
that what do you have to say on your end? Is that, there's a lot of sand on the road?
Yeah, there's a lot of sand down the road, and it
Yep.
happens, it ends up in my driveway, ends up in the garage, ends up in your house.
So here's another reason, and the whole town, the shoulders need to be attended to as well. We need to knock down the shoulders so that the water, sand, and everything can get off the road. That has not been done. And some roads need to be built up. Right. Because there's no shoulders. Getting this, there's a crown on the road, getting the water off the roads into the ditches. Yes, the last couple of years have been pretty easy.
Yeah, oh yeah.
The winters have been.
Right, exactly.
So we had this real nasty long winter that we used 3 times the product. We emptied we used 3,000 ton. And,
Yeah, I cleared my driveway more times this year than the last 2, maybe 3.
No, so
yeah.
we appreciate the comments, we are addressing it. and-
Yeah. I know that a lot of people had said something, I'm like, well, the only way to approach it is to approach it.
No, we appreciate it, no, we're always
a
open.
lot of people are talking. Mike and I we've had multiple discussions on this, what to do moving forward. And we've come up with that. I appreciate it. So I think we're going to do, we'll still have aggregate. Now, there's a town in Venice, they've been doing it 4 years, a 50-50 mix. They love it. They said there's hardly any cleanup. He said there was no cleanup, I find out.
Yeah.
So, and maybe we can even go lighter than that, but we'll see how it works. We put a lot of thought. I've called around. You lose, you know, it's a different animal, so we're gonna try it. And, but yeah, I'd love to have the roads cleared on. Yeah,
Appreciate it, thank you.
yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for
Mr. Fitch, did you want to address us tonight?
That's why I'm here.
Okay, floor is yours.
Thank you. So just wanted to give you some updates at the county. So for the courthouse, we did get the the grants for that. So we're now looking at the heating cooling system process. Courthouse steps on each end are now being ripped out and replaced. That's being done by our county highway. Inside the courthouse, the county clerk, who's on the main floor, is now being moved down to the old DMV. That's a requirement by the state, because even though we own the building, we don't really own the functions that are inside the building. So when the state decided that they were going to put in more judges, they come to us and say, we have more judges for Cortland, you have to now provide more courtrooms. So for the old clerk's area is now going to be converted into a courtroom. So that's a requirement.
But if I remember right, they paid pretty well to have those judges there.
They used to.
Not now.
Not anymore. We used to get like 95% reimbursement. Yeah, it's down to only 35.
Go figure.
Yeah, that's how you can save money, I guess. The other one is part of efficiency, cost savings. We're going to be merging as of session. We're going to be merging the highway and the building and grounds committees together, so that we can eventually merge building and grounds department and highway together, because they already work well together. And we're starting to see that. Ambulances. So right now we're having major issues with our ambulance services in Cortland County. They're not going to calls. They're picking and choosing their calls. They don't want fall calls, anything. So we're working with ambulance services and the states to require them to answer the calls. So it is something that we know is an issue. Outlying areas like Kyler, they never get it. It's almost like a 50-minute wait to get there. So these are some issues that we're trying to get a hold of. The other thing we're doing is we're now in the process of looking at the landfill and doing a, I can call it because it doesn't cost anything, doing a study on what the future of the landfill. As everyone knows, we're getting ready to cap a cell. We only have one cell left. So we need to figure out what we're going to do in the future for that. To get the correct permits to build the new cell, it takes about 8 years. So we're looking at that or a transfer station to ship it out. Pros and cons on that. And then for us, we're also starting, the budget season is starting for the county. And then the last but not least is, if everyone knows, that we did receive major funding for the airport by the federal government. And there's a new building that's getting put in. That's for layovers, for waiting and all that. So that's on that. So other than that, if anyone's got any questions, it's not something I brought up. Go ahead.
Any questions?
Yeah, I have a question on the ambulance thing. Is that, are they paid?
Yep.
They're paid.
Well, yes,
But not by the county.
but not by the county. Yeah. It's kind of a touchy thing on bringing that out. The volunteer ambulance services have been pretty good. MAVAC has been excellent, and others have been excellent. But the paid ones, not so great.
Well, if they're being paid to do a job and they're picking and choosing to go on a call,
They're picking and choosing what pays.
I see.
So if it's a fall, like a elderly just fell and just couldn't get up, and they got the little button thing, they'll go to dispatch, they will call a person to get picked up. They will not do those. So that's what we're trying to address, because a fall call is just a fall call until you get there. And a lot of people don't say, why did they fall, right? So those are some of the issues that we've seen. And it's been to a point, even the sheriff's department, when the sheriff's goes and the ambulance doesn't show up, they will put the person in their patrol car to get them to the hospital. We should not be seeing that in our county.
oh, God forbid it's something serious.
Yeah. So we are addressing that. And the last one is Centro. So everyone knows Centro is here now. We've had nothing but good things for Centro. So the next part of Centro is to hub it up to Onondaga County to be able to get up to the city if they need to, medical or whatever. So, good. Okay.
Any other questions?
Yeah. Kevin, what's the cost to the county on this, new building? Is it fully funded by the federal?
Fully funded. Yep.
Okay.
Thank you. So we have a special guest with us tonight, Ms. Sullivan.
Oh, hi. Sorry I was tardy. Should I stand up?
Stand up and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about.
Sure. My name's Kathleen Katie Sullivan. I was over at Gutchess, the varsity baseball game. We did not win. I'm sorry. So I was a little tardy, and then I went downstairs and I was knocking on the door and no one was So excuse me for being tardy, but I'm running for Homertown Justice. As you know, your current Homertown Justice is running for county court, but one of the judges they're trying to build all the chambers for over there in the building. So I'm excited. I turned in my petitions last week. I'm officially on the ballot. I think I'm unopposed as far as I know, but we'll see. So I just wanted to come by. I'm trying to learn more about local government and what everybody does. So thank you for letting me come and observe today.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any
Thank you
questions
for inviting
for?
me. No.
All right, you're welcome to come anytime.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Anyone else in the privilege of the floor? All right. Highway Superintendent, you're up.
These reports, now everybody got their report, I can kind of walk you right down through it here. Elaborate on everything, but I broke it down, this is something new we're trying, so. See, so the month of March, this is the week of the 10th, where I did it from board meeting to board meeting. So the week of the 10th, we did tree work that week. You can see in parentheses, it says basket work. That's just a type of tree work that we do. There's multiple different types of tree work or vegetation management. The basket work though, we have a basket for our loader. We have a guy stand in it with a pole saw. We get that 15 to 20 foot range where we can't get with a mechanical boom. This is, and the booms, they kind of tear everything and make a mess. So we chip everything up. It's clean, it looks good. It gets all the stuff up off the trucks that are big trucks, tall trucks, farm equipment. I think it looks real good. It gets us some exercise. But you get a lot for to rent something like that to do the same job. They don't really think it. So it helps out in the stormy weather too. We're trimming the road side of the tree, so it lightens that side up. So if it were to fail, it would fail away from the road. We're not doing anything unsafe, or it's safe, good, safe way to do it. And you get a lot for good bang for your buck. Yeah, the next week, the week of the 17th, we continue to do tree work, basket work. We also had a sweeper truck come and do all of our housing developments, or anywhere there's lawns that meet our roads where we can't sweep with our sweeper buggies. We go out before the sweeper truck and clean up anything we tore up with the plows, rake, fix up the lawns. And like I say, this year was a lot of that. So the week of the 24th, we swept roads with our buggies. We ran a couple buggies. We do the rural roads with those. We ran 2 of them. Both sweepers require a water truck with water in front of it. We opened up seasonal roads that week. That's there's hundreds of trees down, snow that got to be opened up by the 1st. So that took a couple days alone. That stuff done. But the week of the 31st, spring cleanup. So that's intersections, turnarounds, lawns, and then we're cleaning under the guardrails with the mini excavator. We have a special bucket. All of this tree work, roads, cleanup, we still have more to do. We're not done. We still have a lot of tree work to do. The seasonal roads are overgrown. It's going to be a never-ending thing that we're going to have to vegetation management. So I'll get into that. The stuff we're going to be doing after this week, I'll get into that, Kevin, or Tim. Kevin.
It's okay. We call worse.
Then we get into this, then get into April here. We did some more guardrail stuff for you. Now we're starting to do culverts and winding some driveways, Maxon Road. We got some stuff to do up there. Plowing salt this week. Got back into that a couple of days. We had a resident decide to dig a beaver dam out, and it was coming over our road a couple feet deep, and that gobbled up a couple days of
Oops.
what's going on here. A few phone calls, and And then, you know, there's another tree work we did, that weekend. We rented a lift, so I was talking with Mike. It's hard to get these guys, I called around for tree service guys, and being in the business, I'm familiar with, you know, they got pay per ballot rate now and stuff, and so be it, but we couldn't hardly we did get some quotes, and, you know, 5,000 to 10,000 for this stretch of tree work on Rice Road, which is, so 5,000 to 10,000. I talked with Mike, we ended up renting a lift for $750, and I'm in the business. So maybe it cost us $1,000 or $1,500, saved us $5,000. And we had some residents calling in about complaining about the trees breaking off, stretch of willows, they're weak, everything. So we got a lot of spots like that, but it'll save us a lot of money throughout the years, and if we do it ourselves. I've got the equipment, personal rigging stuff, and the knowledge to do it safe and efficiently. This is just an overview. I just was trying to keep it to a page. You know, like I say, the superintendent comments down here. This report doesn't cover the, you know, 1,000 phone calls a month, the meetings. Mike and I get together twice a week. And the logistics of keeping everything running, making sure the guys have something to do, make sure they're doing it right. Homeowners call in, we go meet them. What do you need? We put them on a list. We still have a lot of equipment needs and personnel needs that every day's we're working towards all that stuff. So we're doing it as fast as we can and safe as we can, and got a lot to do, and putting in 100% one day at a time. If anybody's got any concerns or questions or anything, please reach out at any time. But not legible. The signs are felled over. We got to stand them up, make sure they're legible, make sure they're there. The vegetation's been cleared. Make sure they're right or appropriate for where they are. We're going to be working on shoulders, cutting them down, putting them back. We've overlaid some roads in the past. They never put their shoulders back, so you got a foot. Or Maxon Road's a good example. Coral Road, you can't even get off the road. And then Mike and I've been working with Suco, we're gonna put a proposal together so that everybody can see why we're doing it or what we'd like to do with our road work, with our CHIPS money. Culverts, we got a ton of culverts and bridges in our roads, what they need, why they need to be treated, and why we're treating it this way. There's a million different ways we can do things. I've been in contact with Suco and a representative from their outfit, and I've met with him multiple times to try to narrow down what's going on. And we're getting some feedback from the residents, you know, just like saying, and just so it's which we think it's good.
I will say up on Limerick Lane, I talked to a little old lady up there, and they just love these guys. Oh my God, they're great.
Yeah,
so they get a lot of good compliments. So.
Don't tell them too much, it'll go right.
No, we won't go. Any questions for, yes?
Not a question, just a statement, just because I forgot, that amnesty was approved this year, for landfill.
Oh, okay.
For municipalities. Anytime.
So we can pick our own amnesty date?
But,
Okay.
yeah, just have to just tell them it's a thing that it's amnesty.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah.
And then maybe I forgot, can I go back, or is it?
Yep.
If you guys have any feedback on this, this is the first time the girls and the other helped us, and Brooke, we're like working together on guys wanna know or need to know, or like I say, I can make a 100-page report on the facility. We're working on equipment.
One page summary, I like it.
Maintaining stuff every day, so. Vehicles, and making sure stuff's taken care of. But that'll be going on every single week, so.
Perfect, so thank you for that. That's, working with Kyle on this. So what we're gonna start doing, these are gonna be received and filed, and then we'll have a permanent record. At any time, we can look back and see what happened. And Kyle can explain it, just like he did tonight, what he's doing monthly. So this is great, we appreciate that.
Thank you. We got nothing to hide over there. We're looking to work with everybody, residents.
So the next three items have, I gotta move on, Kyle, sorry. The next three items have to do with the highway garage,
Can I
so.
interrupt, Mike? Can I make a motion that we accept the highway department report for the month
Okay, yep, good idea.
in a one-page condensed form?
I'd like to keep it to that. It's just,
Perfect.
I could.
Can I get a second?
babble
I'll second
forever.
that.
We need a second. In favor, say aye.
Aye.
Approved.
One-page condensed. Kyle.
Yeah, we like it.
All right, so we got a contract, as you know, in the town, we have been plowing roads for the county. There's two roads specifically, and Kyle and I are going over, and so my recommendation is we're not gonna be plowing county roads this year for the foreseeable future. It doesn't no longer fit our program where we wanna go with our county highway department. It's not cost effective for us to continue to do that. So I don't think we need a vote on that. I'll put it out as a form of information, but if you want any more information on that, I will send a letter to Charlie Seabury. Okay, credit card usage. You see there's a policy in here, so we have a credit card now for our highway superintendent. And we just thought we didn't have a written policy, so we wrote the policy. I say we wrote the policy, our lawyer wrote the policy, Dan wrote the policy, so. You wanna read it and go over it with him, Dan?
Okay, if you want me to.
Yeah, let's go over it.
Yeah, so it just basically sets forth some basic parameters for the usage of the card. We already know it's $1,000 limit that was approved earlier this year. Allows the town highway superintendent to use the card for emergency repairs and supplies for highway usage, fuel and maintenance costs for town-owned vehicles, and purchase of materials and road maintenance and other repairs. Obviously prohibited uses, personal expenses, cash advances, and any non-highway related purchases. So very straightforward. Requires monthly submissions of credit statements so that the bill can be paid monthly.
Yeah, out in the audience,
Sorry.
please,
Sorry.
it's distracting to us.
Sorry.
So sorry, the big thing towards the end is submission of monthly credit card statements so that the bill can be paid monthly without incurring any interest.
Interest.
Yeah.
So we need to formally approve and accept this. So this will be our new credit card. Part of that, I want to add to it, we want to do this as a prepay. So when our bills come in, we pay it instantly, so we will not be subject to any interest charges. We'll get the vouchers. This is one of the approved ones that the state allows us to prepay. But I want to make it a formal, approve the policy and being able to prepay.
Mike, is this through Dryden Bank?
Yes.
Okay.
So we have $1,000 limit on it right now. We'll see how that goes, and we can up it if we need to. That'll be a board decision, but it gets them off to a start.
Yeah, that'll help us out big time.
So I need a motion on this.
You say prepay, you pay it as soon as the bill comes in, is that the idea?
Yes, monthly.
And you get in time, not waiting for a
Yeah.
monthly, credit card, interest rates are terrible, obviously. So it's a great idea to get it
We
paid.
already got the first statement and it says due date is pay upon receipt.
Okay, perfect. I'll make that motion that we accept $1,000 and the prepay.
Second.
I'll second that.
Any other discussion on that? Those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Okay, so you see the next one, I got highway garage. So we got a bunch of stuff to go over with the highway garage. So as you know, we applied for an energy grant Last year, we got approved for a 5,000 and then a 10,000 energy grant. So we got approved for that. Then we got busy with budget and everything else, and this NYSERDA, oh my gosh. Every week I'm getting emails from them, do you need help with this? We'll take this over, we'll do this for you, and we're there, just leave us alone, we'll figure it out. So anyways, so talking with Kyle, evaluating the buildings and what they would allow us to do, we're gonna replace the 3 overhead doors with insulated doors, which I ran by you last month. So we got the quotes on it, I had to submit the quotes to the state approved it. So it's gonna be Cortland overhead doors, you see on your paperwork here, so replace, the total cost is $26,198. We got a grant for $15,000, the town share is gonna be $11,198. So that's our share. Then we're gonna have to do some modifications to accept 14-foot doors. We'll be careful, but I don't know where we come up. We got 4 doors and no 2 doors are identical in that building, so I don't know how that ended up. But anyways, we're gonna have all 14-foot doors so we can get the bigger equipment in there. So that means we gotta raise the headers a little bit. CCC built the building and they did think ahead on that and they made the provision, so it's a fairly simple process to do it. And we got bids on that and that could come up to $8,400. But what I wanna do, so this is gonna be 2 parts, so we need to approve this upper part. I want verification, so we already got the 15, we gotta approve the 11,000. So if we turn this down, that means we gotta get the grant money back, so I don't expect us to turn this down. But I need a motion on that for these 2, town share of 11,198 and up to 8,400. I'll explain the 8,400, cause that may end up going away, okay, but I need a motion to please get this part moving.
I don't know how to form it.
Well, we just need a motion for town share of $11,198 for the overhead doors and up to $8,400 for a modification to the building.
And we're taking it out of what account?
We have a regular building account for that. It's not out of the highway, it's out of our general fund. So I just made the motion, I'll need a second.
I'll second.
Any other discussion on that?
What, can you explain, you're gonna explain more about why the 8,400 or?
I can, because if we go to the second part, we're looking at concrete floor, ceiling insulation, sidewall and insulation. So when we were first looking at the doors, because they're gonna be door openers, these doors are too big not to have a door opener. So when we modify the doors or raise the doors, we were gonna make provisions that where the door motors to pull it up and down, the closures, we would have that all boxed in, so that wouldn't have to come down later on when we did the ceiling. So it would save us labor on the other end. If we approve and we go out to do the ceiling and insulation and stuff, we can hold off on, not the whole 8,400, but part of that, because we'll do the ceiling first. And then we'll have the doors put in. So we gotta do a coordination, but I need to get the doors on order, because prices are escalating. Right now they're going up, so we need to get the doors locked in, and then it's gonna take probably a month or 2 to get the doors, and then we'll get it scheduled when we wanna put in. At least we'll have the doors. Then if we just talk to you about going out to bid on this other stuff, and I get into more explanation, can we vote on the first one first, and then we'll get into deeper explanation of the second?
Yeah, I'd go for that.
Okay, so you understand what I'm looking at on the first couple? That we made a
Can you
motion?
repeat the motion back?
Sure can.
I am confused, I truly am.
All right, so we got a grant of 15,000, that's approved grant, the money's there. The overhead doors are gonna cost us 26,198. So my motion is the town share is gonna be $11,198 for overhead doors. We had the 3 bids, Cortland overhead door was the low bidder. We have to modify the door openings, we got bids on that, and that will not exceed $8,400, and it may be less. depending if we go ahead with the other parts of the.
So are you making that part of the original motion?
Yes.
With the 11,198?
11,198 plus the 8,400. Knowing the 8,400, I'm hoping we're gonna be able to lower that if we go ahead with the other parts of the project.
So the low bid on the modifications is $8,400?
Yes.
Okay, so then we would be accepting the low bid on 8,400, and the town share in the grant would be 11,198?
Yes.
Okay, and there is no low bid for that because that's our contribution to the grant,
Yes.
to make the grant. Okay, if that's what your motion says, then
Yes.
I'll vote for it.
It was already second. So those in favor, before anybody thinks about it, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, carry. I know it's confusing, and believe me, I've spent a lot of time getting this. I never believed it would be so intense to get a
But
10,000.
I was gonna say, but to go back, did we accept the low bid for 15,000? The overhead door?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. I missed it, sorry guys.
Okay, so the next part of it is to raise the doors and everything and to do the framing. I got looking at stuff, talking with Kyle. Our needs are, we really need to put a concrete floor in that building. There's no floor in there. So it's 52 foot by 104 foot. We're looking at 6-inch deep with a 12 by 12 half-inch rebar grid, a 6 mil poly. We got all the specs rolled. I spec'd it all out. As you can see in your proposals here, it's gonna be a 5-inch slope from one side to the other side, so water can be swept out the door. We do not want any floor grates or anything in there because that brings in a whole different animal. The water coming off these trucks isn't that severe. There's gonna be some water, but it's not so bad that we need a grate system. So that could be, and these are just budget numbers, because I've got some numbers last year, so I inflated them a little bit. So going to that floor with that grid system could be 96,000, and maybe a little more. I don't know till we put it out bid, so I just given us an idea. Once we go to bid, we'll come back and decide if we want to do it. So ceiling and insulation, first I was thinking we'd just do the floor. And then when I was down there talking with Kyle and just looking around, we have to clean out the building totally to do the floor. So it made no sense to me for another 42,000 and 44,000 to clear that building all out, put the floor in, put all your stuff back in, and then a year or two later, clear it all out again. Let's just get it done. We need to do it. We're gonna be 182 to 200,000. We do have the money. It's not gonna be a burden on the town of Homer to do this. And it's starting to set us up for the future. I mean, this building has been there for the last 10, 12 years now, I believe. And it's really not very usable building for what Kyle needs now. Kyle, if you wanna jump in there, go ahead.
Yeah, the benefits to having this, so right now it's just a shell. It's a steel shell, cold storage. It's got a dirt floor in it. And in all times of the year, it's just a moisture box. You're basically, the equipment is just pounded full of moisture. We got half of our equipment inside during the winter especially. It's thawed out, it's dry. The operators can visually see if there's something wrong with the truck, if there's a bolt missing off of the plow, if the plow's ready to fall off, or wheels, they can see out the windshield because they've washed it, the lights have been washed. Not only that, it's warm, but the workers are happy, they're not miserable. You go out with, that's half of our equipment, the other half is out freezing cold. I was talking with Mike a bunch of times. I've thought about it every which way, and our plows and a lot of our equipment is a lot of it's hydraulically driven. You get all this hydraulic fluid, it's cold. Some of this equipment won't even start in the cold. And then you're trying to push cold fluid through a system. And when you're coming from a heated facility, it's all warm. The viscosity is low and it goes through the system without blowing hoses. or being hard on anything. You can wash it, inspect it. Out there, all year long, it's just a damp. Plus, we don't have, when everything's backed in there in the wintertime, there's like a foot in between some of our vehicles with the plows and stuff, so it's hard. We don't have any room to work on anything. So we'll get out there, we'll have heater going, and then the moisture starts dripping off the building, and we've had problems forever. This equipment now more than ever, plow trucks are gonna be hitting $400,000. So taking care of the equipment, this is a great way to do it. Also, we need a pad for our plows. And they've all been talking about putting the pad outside, and I'm like, well, we just have a pad inside. Cortlandville, they turn their trucks around in the spring, unhook the plows, and then they'll back in throughout the year. Works perfect. So it'll, in the long run, it's gonna save money. Cleaner, safer, friendlier work environment.
It's just time for us to do it. We need to keep being progressive, moving on. The building's been kind of neglected for the last 20 years. It's not, we need to do other stuff, but this is gonna be a good start. He alluded to, we'll have to look on a little bit later of doing lighting and heating, but I'd like to get this part of it done. And then we'll look at doing some other, whether it be this year or next year, but we need to get at least, I feel we need to move forward with this. So Dan helped put together the town of Homer, as you see part of that. We've got to go out to sealed bids. We put dates in here. So these, please return the bid date by April 30th. And then we're gonna open it at 3:01 PM. I didn't pick up on that one, but 3 o'clock, 3:01. I may have to change those dates by a couple of days because talking to the state, they got some new requirements for municipalities and everybody. I then had to fill out another worksheet and I gotta apply for a specific number. And they will give us that number to put this out to bid. If I do it without doing that, we'll be in trouble. It's just a new requirement that came out first of the year. All municipalities have to follow this process. So I filed the paperwork today, I'll be honest, because I didn't realize, I'm on the other end of the receiving. We get hundreds of bids all the time, even from municipalities, and I've never seen the paperwork that they're requiring now. So I don't think everybody's doing it yet, but they're gonna get fined for that. They tell me they're gonna turn this around very quickly, that we should have it hopefully tomorrow. We get it tomorrow, and we approve this, we'll be able to go ahead with the schedule. I just want you to know, if it takes a couple of days, I may just back these April dates into May, just a couple of days. I want to give everybody a fair opportunity to bid this. So I just want you to understand it. Our April 30th dates may change, and I'll let you guys know. If this gets approved, go ahead. Okay? Any questions on that? So I need someone to if someone would be willing to make a motion for the concrete pour, the ceiling, and the sidewalls.
I'll make a motion that we put out to bid the concrete floor, ceiling insulation, sidewall insulation for the highway garage.
Need a second?
I'll second that.
Any other discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Hi.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Okay, next one is, Kyle's got an expensive month here. Here you go. Some of our equipment needs. Again, Kyle and I have been talking quite a bit. Kyle did all the homework on this. We need a new tractor to mow our roadsides. The tractor that we have is a John Deere tractor. The tractor is okay. It's got ball tires. The maintenance hasn't been. It's still a good running tractor, but it would need tires and stuff. Our biggest drawback to it is the mower. It's a 4-foot mower. It's like a rotary mower, like a bush hog, and so when they're mowing, it's throwing everything onto the road. Stones and stuff can fly up from the back. It's not a very safe situation, but it's so narrow, they gotta go down each side of the road twice. So you can jump in Kyle and,
Yeah, that tractor's pretty good. I mean, it basically, it's a 5-foot wide mower, but we can only mow 4 feet at a time. It's a rotary mower. It doesn't do a clean cut. And you have to mow it half a mile an hour or a quarter of a mile an hour. And it's New York State law, you can't put stuff in the roof. It literally touches the grass when you cut. So one guy mows all year. By the time he gets done, he's got to start back and he never gets it enough done. We had the highway superintendent's wife call us.
That is.
I said, what the heck? This is when I wasn't superintendent. We can't use this tractor basically. Dave, the proposal that you want me to get into that, Mike? Or?
Yep, let's get right into it.
So so the company there's a few different companies that you can, obviously tractors, but the mowers, these are specifically built for what we do. I met with a couple different representatives from John Deere and Diamond Mowers. John Deere has a good reputation. They're local. Their service is good. They have the tractor that we are looking at or would like to replace this with is a heavy duty, specifically built for what we're doing. It's got the right size tires and rims, 100 horse, it's got a cab. And then the Diamond mower. These Diamond mowers are pretty much the heaviest built. They're tough, last a long time. Everybody's running these things for a reason. I've been up to the dealership 3 times. I've talked with the sales rep. They've both come down and give me different options. I've gone back and forth on them with them. I've reached out to other towns that have these mowers or have used them. You can rent them. They all say the same thing. It's in the flail style. It's a different style, and it's out front. It's easier to run, and it's gonna cut our time down more than half. So, and I reached out to a town. They rented one. They had a rotary style. It took them a month to do their town. It took them a week and a half with a rotary or with a flail. Like the one we'd be getting. They come with warranties. We'd be putting 100 to 150 hours on a year. So this mower would last for, a good 15 years. They're giving us a good trade-in value on our other tractor. We can't put a mower on our other tractor. The tires aren't the right size. It's got a loader. It's a little overkill anyway to convert that. Plus it's 14 years old. It's got some hours on it. So this is specifically built for what we need. You're gonna you're basically get rid of the guy that's in it all year. Just take another guy, put it in them or split it up. So you don't need that guy all year long in what we have now. Plus, it's easier to run. And it does a nicer job. They're all individual knives. It cuts everything and puts it right back where it was cut. And like I said, reached out to multiple towns.
So Kyle did the homework for us on that, and he got a lot of different information. I met with him too here this week. The nice thing about this flail mower that that I like. With the rotary cutter, we could throw stuff out the back, and it could hit a pedestrian, or if a car was coming, you could wipe out a car. This flail mower is specifically designed for this process. It throws everything directly straight down into the ground. So the chances of something coming out and hitting somebody or a house or a person is pretty much reduced to zero.
Yeah, it's.
Nothing's ever guaranteed, not that something couldn't ricochet, but we're flirting with disaster with our other setup. We really are. We gotten by all these years, but someday something could happen.
The other thing is that tractor is, the attachment on it is just smoke. You have to work on it it's just
I think I read that they offered you fairly good trade-in value on.
big time.
$50,000 for
I
trade-in.
think we bought the tractor for that, or around that.
So we're looking at a total cost to get the tractor and the mower of $69,464.61. But that includes the $50,000 trade-in. Okay. It's a 2-year warranty on the tractor. It's a 2-year warranty on the mower. And then it's a little bit longer warranty on the sealed bearings or an oil. They got a great warranty. They're right there. The mower is in Syracuse. They're down here all the time. Of course, the John Deere dealer is just over the hill. So it's all local in that sense for getting repairs and service. The disadvantage to doing this right now, but we need to do it, like everything, we won't see this till November. We will not have to pay for this till November. But no matter when we order it, you got 4 or 5 months out. So we need to get, my feeling is we need to order it. We'll have it for next year. It'll be in place. Kyle asked a very good question, is that if we buy the tractor, when would the warranty start? Because that tractor won't be used. We're going to get it. It's going to go in the barn. I believe they said they'll hold the warranty till you get ready to start using it, and then that's the day the warranty kicks in.
Warranty started, that's with the mower.
For the mower, okay.
Okay, so that's.
We do not have to pay for this. We will not pay for it till it comes in. I asked the question, because when we did the trucks, every time I turned around, they were coming back, well, we got it, there was an increase, now we gotta pay an increase. This price is guaranteed. There's not gonna be any increase. They told them I'm not gonna entertain coming back here in 2 months until it's went off.
Is there a tariff on it, you know?
I don't know. They're gonna lock that price in.
This is state bid?
Yes, it
Okay,
is.
so there's no pricing.
Are you comfortable with how far out that'll reach?
Yeah, well, here's the other thing, so we've always rented a boom mower. We're still gonna have to rent a boom mower regardless, but doing the basket work like we've been doing, it's gonna reduce it way down. We gotta get, once we get rolling, as the years go by, we're still gonna have to rent a boom mower. That's a whole different animal. You gotta have a big high horsepower tractor with a setup. We looked at one of those, you know, with a combination, you know, you're pushing 200. You're right at about 200,000, and those things are, you know, they're you can't use them for road work. They make a combo. I've got 5 different quotes here, and the good thing with the flail is you just send a guy out, and he's gonna do the whole town in 2 weeks, and it's a 75-inch mower instead of a 4-footer. It'll mow 5.5 feet instead of 4, 6-ish.
Can I rent it to finish first cutting if you're not using it? Just saying.
So the mower we got now, I thought maybe I could just use my lawnmower would do a better job. Skip around with that. Yes, Caleb, here's the other thing with this mower, which we don't have yet, but Scott, the town of Scott just bought one last year. Same exact thing we're looking at. They have a double flail, a flail in the back. They have some wider shoulder areas where they can do 11 feet at a time. He did say that he uses it, he doesn't use the back 90 to 95% of the time. It's another $15,000. And the operator, the side flail's up here. So you're watching that. That one back there, they tore it up because it's too much going on at once. You got your PTO feeding, your tractor's trying to feed 2 mowers takes more horsepower, you get sort of distracted. It's a little easier for the.
Kyle, you gotta hire a farmer to run it, so this
Yeah.
girl runs 3 mowers, you know, one on each side.
I'm pretty sure my dad took out the Verizon internet box with one of those.
Anyway, so we gotta move on. So thank you for doing that homework, and part of the plan here is, with Kyle's thinking and stuff, it's gonna save us time, so we're looking at not increasing our payroll quite as much, because we can do away with one less guy. Then that was part of our thought process in the snow plowing of the roads. It's gonna relieve 1 10-wheeler and 1 part-time guy during the winter plowing roads.
Without taking away, no, with increasing our services to the residents of the town. Because right now, we've added them. We either have to add those roads to someone's routes or a truck. So you're saving big money.
So we're saving money.
And with the mower.
So going back to mower, any other questions on this mower? And if not, I'd like to get a motion on it in a second. Somebody make a motion?
I will make a motion that we purchase a John Deere municipal tractor with a diamond flail mower. And hopefully we can receive delivery of it in November.
There you go. For a total cost,
For
not
a total
to
cost of not to exceed $69,464.61.
and you authorize me to sign the papers.
And authorize Supervisor Parks to sign the paperwork.
I'll second that.
Any other discussion on that? Those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Carried. Now, I did tell Kyle after this expensive night that.
I'm only in here for 69,000.
The next thing they're gonna be looking at is a trailer. We gotta upgrade our trailer.
This stuff is this stuff that we can get by with a lot of things, and we're very thankful for what we've got. But some of this stuff is just
Passes
it's
service.
just small, never been maintained. I mean, we're just at a point where I don't know.
The other thing that Kyle's doing, so next month or in the next month or two, he'll be coming back with a quote on a trailer, and that'll probably wrap up our major equipment purchases this year for the highway garage, and then next year, he needs a different excavator and stuff. He's working with the equipment we had, so we'll budget for that one. So we're within our budget of buying this type of equipment, so we got a new truck coming, we have a mower coming, and we really need a trailer, because the trailers we have are not sufficient for what we're doing. The other thing is, he was gonna go out, we've had a retiree, as you know. We got 2 other guys that are leaving next week, I believe.
Seasonal guys, yeah.
Yep.
One of them next week, the other one May.
Okay, so he needs to replace one, and he was gonna advertise, but he found the gentleman that he hired, correct?
Yeah. Yep.
So he's gonna be starting Jonah Mann.
Jonah Mans.
So he's gonna be starting, we don't need board approval on that, it's just a point of information, because that's under the highway superintendent's authority to hire and fire we just funded.
Okay.
So it's within our budget, he's got the details worked out, and, so we'll be moving forward, so we'll have a staff, 4 back in our,
Well, 3 operators. And,
Okay.
And superintendent, which with the county roads gone and with equipment upgrades and the county road, we can get rid of a guy, not get rid of a guy, but we don't need to find right now we're running 4 and 6. We get the right equipment and the right people, and we can go to 3 and 5 without taking away without taking away from the residents or the worker or anything. It'll be better.
so we're running leaner and just as efficient, and we appreciate that, that's what we need to do.
Right.
So thank you, Kyle. So that takes care of his part of tonight. So now the clerks, update with the clerks.
Not too much of an update from last month. We're still working on taxes. We have 3 more weeks until the payment plan is done. We made an appointment today to settle with the county on June 12th. Donna started a new flow of boxes that are coming from the balcony. I would say we're down to 2 racks. We did have 4 full, so she really is busting through a lot of the boxes, and we were actually talking about it today that our plan is to get all of the boxes out of the balcony, get them organized, get them up to the storage closet. Then once everything is in the storage closet, weed through that to see what we actually need to keep. A lot of the retention schedule hasn't been touched, it seems, in quite a while, so we might actually find out that we have more storage space that is not being utilized or doesn't need to be right now. So every day it's something different.
Part of what the clerks and we need to start working on, we got a notice by New York State that we have to change our website to .org New York, or what is it,
.gov.
.gov. So we have to change our website. Part of that is we've talked about it, but now we're gonna get real serious about it. We're gonna update our website, make it more user-friendly for a couple of reasons. Our website is not a bad website, but it's not user-friendly. It's not very accessible for the clerks to add and subtract stuff. We need to fix that because without a local newspaper to do more advertising, and the state says, they give us a whole list. Every meeting, everything has to be on your website instantly. Our minutes have to be posted, preliminary minutes 2 weeks after your meeting. That includes planning board, CBA meetings. Sometimes we turn them in. Our clerks do their job, and now we're at the mercy of when they put it on. Sometimes they don't do it in the timely fashion that's required by law, so we gotta look into that. But as long as we're making the effort, I think we're okay. So we're gonna be getting real serious about that now. Tax season's ending, and that's gonna be a top priority, whether they know it or not, but it's gonna be, they know it, they're already on it. But that's gonna be a top priority that we have to get straightened out. The state just, I think they lay awake at night trying to think of things that all these municipalities have to do, my goodness. The next one is our the village fire department, that we agreed in principle that we were gonna do a shared service intermunicipal agreement for the town of Homer and the village of Homer. We're gonna donate $10,000 towards the 2025 village fire truck purchase assistance. You got the contract in front of you. Dan did a great job in writing this. Does everybody have it in front of them? Do you want Dan to read it, or can you guys read it?
We read it.
All right, is there any questions on that? Does that mean everybody, satisfy everybody what you want?
If we get to an end of service life and it goes to auction or trade or something, the 100% ownership relies with the village.
Yes.
Okay, so this is one time in, that's it. Whatever happens after that is theirs.
Yep.
And if you read the back page, he's ruled out, we're not responsible for anything other, we'll give them, the money will stay with the town of Homer and our savings until they actually do the purchase. So we'll draw interest, and if something happens, they don't get it, we're not giving it to them to say, hope you buy it. Once they buy it and prove they bought it, we will give them this grant. So I need a motion to accept this agreement.
I'll make the motion to accept the intermunicipal agreement with the town of Homer and village of Homer for the $10,000 donation towards the 2025 village fire truck purchase.
Second on that?
I'll second that.
Second. Any other discussion on that? Those in favor, say aye.
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 Those opposed? Carried. Thank you. Fireman's installation dinner is Friday, April 18th at 6 p.m. at the Elks Club. And we're all kind of invited, so you're welcome to attend this, but they kind of need to know so they can make, am I right on that? They needed to know who was interested in attending. It's a good dinner, it's a good time, you get to, it's just a way of appreciating our fire department. So you are invited, so keep that in mind. If you would like to go, let me know, or let the clerks know so we can let the fire department know on how to plan, okay? Then that means you and your wife, you and your spouse, whatever. Okay? Town hall, lower level remodeling has been a very sore subject for me, but anyways, so I wrote John Kearns. John, I have a board meeting Wednesday. What can I tell my board on the drawings? We've been waiting 3 years. We have been promised them for over a year now. He assured me last August I was gonna have them. I told him costs are skyrocketing now. I know we have paid requested invoices. I'm very frustrated at this point. Please advise. So he wrote me back the next day. I'm sorry for the delay. Understand your frustration. It's very hard for us to anticipate the number of clients who are trying to get things out to bid as costs were impacted. That includes work with the engineers with school projects. The good news is I'm sending you the drawing and project manual this week for your review. Randy has completed the boilerplate items for bidding, and the engineers have sent me their technical specifications. Let me know if there is anything I can do to ease your mind on this, aside from putting it in high gear to get you these bid documents. This doesn't ease my mind at all, because I wish he hadn't said that. He put other projects in front of us. We've been over since 2022 on this.
Yeah.
We paid them a lot of money. I got Dan standing by. If I don't get anything by the end of this week, we're gonna put them on legal notice. I'm gonna demand their money back, and we'll start from scratch. This is getting absolutely, in my mind, out of control. So that's where we stand on that. I've been bugging these guys, and I'm at the end of, I'm not gonna tolerate anymore. We're gonna go to the next step. Court audit, you guys are still on target to do that this month?
Yes, we'll be done by next month.
Thank you. All right, planning and ZBA set variance timer. So we got the local law, we have one concerned citizen here. I know we got a board member too that voiced the concern that maybe a year is too short. Kevin and Dan, let's have a little discussion on that. Would you be opposed to going 2 years, 3 years, something like that?
I don't think there's any reason to stretch it out beyond 2 myself,
Okay.
quite honestly. That's my opinion on this, having worked with these with different towns. I think 2 is ample if they can't get things done. My personal preference would be just to stick with 1, but I'm safe with 2. I really wouldn't like to see the town stretch it out farther.
Because I think there's a little misunderstanding here. So if somebody applies for a building permit, they get the building permit, and they start the process, doesn't mean they have to start the building, as long as the process is in motion, right? I mean, to get plans drawn, or to finalize everything?
So, yes, so what happens is once the variance is granted, then they have this time period, whether it's a year or 2 years or whatever, to get the process started. Once they apply for the permit to build, they have to have some progress done within the first year in order for the permit itself to be renewed. I'm allowed by state to renew an open permit with activity up to 2 extra years beyond the initial permit. After that, it's up to the AHJ, me, to determine whether I want them to go back to square one and start over or not. Normally what happens is, and it's always with owner-built projects. You know, people are trying to work out of pocket and get these things done. I'm not adverse to extending the building permits for more than 2 or 3 years. The issue that I have is to not have any progress with the variance prior to getting started. So if people are coming to me to look for a variance to do something, that tells me they've already got a plan in place to get started with. So Yeah, I think 2 years is more than ample, but that's just me. Dan?
Yeah, I don't have a concern with 2 years. We started with 12 just because that's the standard that you see.
Yep.
But there's nothing that says you can't do 2 years, so I have no concerns with that.
Other thoughts on that, or what's the board's pleasure? Do we want to do something? So we would need a motion, either go the year or 2 years on the variance. Does everybody, the board understand what we're talking about with the variance?
Somewhat. I had a couple of extra questions.
Yes, go ahead.
For the group. I ran this down Route 13. I've gotten most of the feedback back, but not all of it. One of the questions was, okay, we're acting on this because do we have a problem now? Is there an existing problem that we have? What is triggering us to move forward to pass this law?
I can answer that.
Okay.
So in order to try to help expedite this so it's not laying dormant forever, the other rules and regulations change. Our local laws change as far as local zoning, building code things change as far as that part goes. And just by leaving it there in hibernation forever is problematic, because now I've got one resident able to do this, where the next resident that's got their act together and they start up and running in this new, with these new rules and regulations, I got two different things going on, and it's not fair. It's not fair.
Okay, the rules and regulations are the ones that come through this policy board, or are these different things that come?
Both, Kevin. They're the ones that come through local law policy from the local law board here. And it's also from the building codes part of it.
And does I can't remember, do we automatically adopt when the new
Correct.
bill?
New York State building fire codes, yes.
The questions that came up where does the variance follow the land, does the variance follow the person?
Stays with the land.
Okay. Does the land more valuable with a variance at this point in time? At some point in time, if you're able to do something? That was one of the questions that came up.
I guess that's a real variable. That's hard to say.
Okay. And if it does go 2 years, I did not get any feedback about forever. I didn't get that. Okay. I did get 1 was too much. 3 seemed to be something out there. But I didn't realize also that the New York State building code was also on top of everything.
Yes.
Our comprehensive plan is about every 10 to 12 years that we do. So any zoning changes that we do would be happening in a decade or something like that. Again, I think 1 year is too much. Infinity is too much. Somewhere in the middle. I'm not sure 2 is it, but do these fees that we're looking at here in the next agenda item also reapply at that next spot?
The fees are a resolution of the board. They can be adopted and changed at any time.
Understood, but I mean, if it has to go through a new variance and everything, then the fee structure would
The
kick in.
fee structure is attached to whatever, the variance is attached to whatever current fee structure.
Okay, so
there is.
if we go through planning board, site plan reviews and everything, we might have $400 or $500 into these applications?
Possibly.
Okay, and if you're trying to buy a piece of land to do something with, you're trying to get a variance prior to purchasing the land and then moving into a building situation. What is the timing on that? Okay, is 2 years good?
If you're buying a piece of property, Kevin, that's contingent upon you getting a variance, you're making a pretty poor purchase.
But people do that. Okay,
Well-
at least that's what was brought up to me anyway, so that was one of the things I wanted to get out.
Yeah.
Okay. Before,
It's, the variance goes to the current landowner, as Dan said.
well, they was said the property, so I guess there is a bit of confusion on my part whether it follows the owner or stays with the property. Could I sell a property within a 3-year period or whatever on a variance, and that variance stays with the property?
It depends on the life of the variance.
If the variance is still, so with the current zoning, it never expires, so the variance is gonna stick with the property forever. So if there is a variance in place and somebody did not act on it, the subsequent owner could build within the confines of what was approved under that variance.
Right. And then code officer on demand is coming in there with the new building codes that are adopted every 3 to 5 years or whatever, that are possibly going to create the situation.
But also at the same time, Kevin, keep in mind that the local boards, they don't have to wait for the comprehensive plan to roll over in order to change local law.
But
You guys can adopt
it
local
would be a
law
policy,
anytime.
this would be the policy at this board.
That
Or
would be
from,
the policy of this board.
right, okay.
With Dan's help, with the attorney's help, that's where the local laws and those changes come from. But they do not have to go on the same time frame as a comprehensive plan.
Correct.
And the comprehensive plan, although it typically is gonna turn over every 10 years, it should be less than that, quite honestly. It's just one of those things that doesn't get real high priority, so.
So I guess what I was being counseled with was that, okay, as land uses change, okay, it's more of a longer period of time rather than an annual year type situation, I guess is what I was trying to bring out to the board. So I guess to take that into consideration with Code Officer McMahon, infinity is too much, okay? But I think Kev, I think even 2 years is too little, given the fact that, they've been sitting and doing things and then everybody gets nervous about having to reapply. I'd go 3 years.
You also, Kevin, just to interject there, you as the current owner that runs out of time can always reapply.
With-
Nothing's gonna keep you from reapplying or the new owner
True.
from reapplying and starting the process again.
And then paying a new set of fees.
Correct.
So I'm willing to give our constituents, property owners, a little breathing room.
So we need a motion, somebody needs to make a motion, 1 year, 2 year, 3 years, or if there's no motion made, then it gets killed.
Can you live with 3 years?
I live with whatever you guys tell me. That's my job, Caleb. Yeah, I can't make the rules, I just have to enforce them.
Yeah, so we can plug whatever time frame you want in. We'll have to refer the local law to county planning. It's one of
Because
those
so,
land use laws.
so the process that we have to go through so we can vote on this tonight, approve it, then it has to go to the county.
Yeah, I mean, technically you don't have to vote on anything. Just decide if you do want to move forward with a termination time frame on variances, just decide what that time limit's gonna be. I can plug it in and then I'll send it over to county planning.
County, then we have to have a public hearing next month.
Yep, if it comes back in time.
Yeah. At the next
Yeah.
cycle,
Okay.
whatever that is, yeah.
So I think I'd still just like a simple motion, and a simple vote that we wanna move forward with a 3-year time frame. So somebody can make that motion, that way we got it in official records. Dan will take care of writing it, submitting it to the
Yep.
county. We'll wait to the county, and then,
You can probably schedule the public hearing for the next month's meeting. We may get a response back from the county.
okay, so as part of that, we'll schedule the hearing, because I like to keep things moving.
Yep.
If you don't get it, we'll just cancel it at the last minute, the public hearing. So can somebody make that motion, please? You understand what it is? All right, so we need a motion to, local law number 1 of 2025, the town of Homer, a local law to amend the zoning law of the town of Homer with regards to the expiration of variances for 3 years. And part of this motion will be to call a public hearing at the next board meeting at 6:30.
And refer the local law to county planning.
So that's the motion, so we'll get a second.
I'm still waiting for someone to make that motion.
I made the motion.
Now, second.
Those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed. Again, that doesn't make this official, just means we're going to the next step, okay? So I was. Okay, fee schedules.
I'm about halfway through with them. I'm not 100% through with them. I need more time if you guys would give me a courtesy with another month.
If I can, I just assume just go down through and give you my explanations of what they were.
Definitely, let's
No,
do
please.
it, and we'll come back to it next month.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, fee schedule is based on what I'm using in my other townships, to try to set, it's not a matter of making my job easier or anything, it's just to try to get our town up to speed with what other towns in the area are doing for current fees on permitting and zoning and planning stuff. Basically what it is, it just consolidates all of the stuff that doesn't fit into new construction, remodeling, those sorts of items where it's a square foot figure. It's just putting together a base fee and charging a $60 base fee plus $2 per thousand. This is, with my 4 municipalities, this is what the other 3 are doing at this point, okay? Going down the list, the renewal permit fee hasn't changed any. That's just a simple $50 renewal of 1 year at a time. Well, let me skip past the solar for a minute. Demolition permit fees are based on square foot also rather than a flat figure. Just for giggles and grins, I threw in the stop work thing to get Kevin all upset and twisted. This is not a fee, Kevin, that I'm charging in any other town at this point. So the problem is, and I've brought this up ever since I started this silly career path a dozen years ago, is for the folks that are aware of building permits and needs and requirements and go ahead and start building to try to keep things under the radar. It's such a pain in the neck for us that are trying to enforce the code and still be nice and not make them tear their building down and start over. So it's more, it doesn't really even belong in here, quite honestly, because it's more a penalty charge than it is a permit fee. So I just threw that in there for Kevin's fun. The commercial-based fees obviously are a value raise from the residential for reasons that don't need to be explained. Again, new construction, alterations, renovations charged by the square foot, renewal permit fees, and again, this schedule that you're looking at is what other towns are doing currently and have been for a couple of years. So again, I threw in the stop work order just to make Cal laugh. So that really doesn't even belong in here technically. That belongs in some sort of a different fee schedule other than permit fees. Agricultural permits, that is as varied as the towns are. What I find it seems to be the most common is because New York State does not require building permits for agricultural buildings. What is required across the different municipalities is at the bare minimum for the code officer to be able to see a site plan to show that the setbacks meet our local law requirements, distances off property lines, and that sort of thing. So the $50 fee that's on here covers that. It doesn't cover an actual building permit. It covers the site plan review to make sure that that building is being put where it fits within local law, okay? So I've got that one in there. Again, I've got that in most of my other places. I'm gonna back up now to the solar permit fees. Not so much in the case of the residential. What I have found is that the solar permit fees, when based on a square foot cost for residential, are put at this 20-cent cost for the most part as compared to, say I want to do the $60 plus $2 per thousand. The square foot cost is less money for residents, okay? So they get a better deal, but it's an even, it levels the playing field for me as the code guy, because a lot of times I'll get numbers that don't even look real coming in at me. I cannot put numbers on a building permit for the cost of a project. That's not my place to do that. So when I ask others to do that, and some of these I'm just gonna call them outside outfits. When they come in, they'll give me a false number, and they'll say, oh, I'm gonna do this residential solar thing for $8,000. When in fact, I know the cost alone is 3 times that. So this just puts a hard number on everything. Now I know the size of the system, I can push the calculator and I can come up with a permit fee. So that's why we've settled in on that in other places. The commercial one, same story. And the pressure is on you people, and I'll need to have Dan's expertise on this. With these solar farms, because right now I'm currently dealing with 4 in Cortlandville, 1 in Virgil, and 1 here in Homer. The solar permit fee system had been designed, this is a little different than Cortlandville's, they've got a couple other levels. But it's designed such that the permit fee amount on a given solar farm, 3 to 5 megawatt, is typically going to bring in a permit fee for the municipality of somewhere around $15,000 to $30,000 on the permit fee itself. Okay. Without that, and here in the town, we would be able to charge, if memory serves me right, $150 maybe. We don't have a very aggressive permit fee schedule for solar. I would like the town to try to push forward with this, only because I've got the one that's being started and it may be too late. Is it too late on that one, Dan?
I think they've submitted application materials already, right?
They've not submitted an application, they've submitted a site plan.
Okay.
Which we met with, myself, Trish from county, Hank from county, the developers, my brother Mike. So we were there on a Zoom meeting with them day before yesterday.
Okay.
They only have a basic site plan at this point. So they have not submitted a permit.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll let you deal with that part, whether
Sure.
we can still get away with changing the fee at this point in time. But again, for the town, the permit fees are significantly different if this were adopted.
That solar project that we were talking about goes against our zoning laws because it's on prime farmland. Our zoning
Yeah,
law
well,
specifically says,
Here's the correction, Mike, not
Okay.
to argue with you. There's 2 different prime farmland rating schedules out there. One's the USDA,
okay,
the other is, and I wish Trish were here to back me on this one.
we didn't use the right one. Of course not.
So, and that was a red flag for me, because when I saw that, and I saw and Hank did the overlay from county, and I'm like, that can't possibly be prime land up there, up on the top of Houghton Hill, out in the middle of the woods and stuff. Their terminology for prime farmland follows what NYSERDA is considering, it's State Ag and Markets, I think, is the one that we should be.
I think that's what the local law says too.
The
Doesn't
local
it?
law says USDA.
USDA, okay. Yeah, so Ag and Markets is the
Ag
one
and
that you
Markets
want.
is the one we're supposed to be paying attention to.
So let's change it.
And Ag and Markets is the one that the solar guys
I'm looking at that.
are leaning on, okay?
I'm dead serious.
So no, I
can't stand seeing our good farmland. We've only got so much of it going under to these solar panels.
trust me,
Drives me
I've
crazy.
got,
You know my concerns.
Portlandville has 8 so far, and another one being built, and then 4 more on the board. So yeah, you're singing to the choir here. So the point being that the way our law is written, that land that they're proposing to put this on does not meet that criteria, okay? But again, they're coming, the state's made it worth their while to keep these things going. I've got a couple that are very troublesome to me that are coming into Cortlandville that I'll be laying awake nights with those, but again, the point of this is just to see if you folks want to be able to adopt that before permitting, and Dan will have to look up the fine print on that of when we're allowed to change and when we're not, but nothing permit-wise has been submitted, Dan. Our Zoom visit the other day before yesterday, with the developers was, just initial site plan.
Mhm.
They haven't done anything else, because they don't wanna invest the money at this point.
Right.
Okay. So I wanted to touch base with you guys on that. Going to the planning and zoning fees. The zoning building compliance letter is, something that we should charge for. I'm forever getting calls, on almost a daily basis, 3 times a week at least, where, a developer, a realtor, an owner, a lender will call me to find out if there's any issues against the property, whether there's any open permits, whether there's any zoning violations. Those for me are usually a simple template letter that I put together for them and send that back. My recommend is to put this fee onto that zoning letter, which is not currently being charged for, okay? That's why there's an asterisk on that. Planning board subdivisions are, compared to what we have, a little more than what we're charging now. They're nowhere near what I have in a couple other towns. I think Dan will agree that Virgil is pretty expensive to be able to do any of these. Their fees are right up there with Portlandville's, and some are beyond, quite honestly. So to do the subdivision, major or minor, we've got costs as a town as far as advertising these things, putting them in the paper, going through the process with the county and back and forth. So these numbers, I feel very comfortable with recommending these for planning and zoning down through. We already have a couple of these in place. For instance, Brooke and Heather, they're already charging the $50 for the short form, $50 for subdivision, $50 for zoning variance application, I believe. So some of these fees are already in line with what Homer is doing. So the rest, again, the rest of these in comparison to other towns larger and smaller than us are kind of running right in the middle right now for what I'm recommending to you folks. But again, the commercial, the building and zoning compliance letter is one that we're not doing yet. So that one has an asterisk. Again, the fees are a little higher, stronger than they are in residential, which they're going to be in most any other municipality. They're going to separate those. The other thing I wanted to bring to everybody's attention is the double asterisk that I have on some of these fees in the schedule are just to remind me to talk to the town about the fact that I have recommended to, I've used actually here in the village. I have working with me in Portlandville, and we're currently working towards one in Virgil for a solar field to hire outside engineering. Now, the outside engineering, like when it comes to solar farms, is never a cost to the town. That's a cost paid by the developer. So, and that was part of the discussions, because I had a Zoom for the Virgil Solar yesterday. I had a meeting with Homer Solar the day before, and these developers are used to this. I said, you do know that you're going to be paying for us to hire an independent engineer to look over these plans. We did the same thing here in the village with Family Health Network. We hired our own engineer to come in and review those plans, which is why, if you didn't know, that retaining wall that came down up on top had to meet our engineer's specs, not what they originally had designed. The Dollar General, the stormwater plan they put together originally for that, wasn't gonna fly. Their numbers and their engineering that came through were way out of whack. So my point to you folks is, please keep that in mind as these bigger projects are coming through. I need help looking at them. I don't want the fox watching the hen house. I don't want to rely on their engineering for all of these things. Shut down a solar field over in Cortlandville because their stormwater practices were way out of whack. So I had them shut down for a week and a half. I got their attention because they weren't following the plan. And to begin with, as it turns out, I had Cortlandville get on board with me to hire Tim Buell as an outside engineer. And when I sent the SWIP plan to Tim after I had looked at him, he's like, this is elementary stuff. He said they should know better than to come up with a design. We, as our local townships, normally rely on Amanda and her folks at Soil and Water Conservation District to be able to put their eyeballs on these things and help do the approvals. They're swamped, they're not turning stuff around quick enough, and in turn, sometimes these plans that they put together are inadequate and it gets missed. So I just want you guys to know that this is huge, especially when I'm talking larger developments and especially with these solar people. So I want to make sure we're covered on that end, okay? So the ones that have the double asterisk is where this would come into play for us in order to be able to hire an outside independent to help me by looking at the stormwater plans and stuff. Beyond that, that's all just basic flat rates for any of the zoning and planning stuff that you see. Questions?
Any questions? So we'll table this till next month, please get through it so we can make a vote on this.
Are you wanting to do that?
What's that, sir?
We are gonna table it till next month, even after he said that time is of the essence.
Doesn't matter, Kevin needs more time to go through it, so.
The one that's the most pressing is the solar. If there's a chance, the
You're not
town's-
ready for the vote on this tonight, are you, Kevin?
I'd like not to.
Okay.
So just so you know, the solar people are moving to the next step. They did get their, they did get their initial review done, so they're working towards doing their stormwater plan and stuff for the Homer one. The Virgil one, I believe, has already been looked at and approved. And just, if I may, add one more piece to the puzzle for the town. What I'm finding with most of our solar laws that's problematic for me as a code guy and the town as the recipients of these solar places, I'm not finding any O&M manuals to go with these solar farms. People aren't coming in front of us as part of their plan to give us an operating and maintenance schedule for these places. Everybody's concerned about getting the decommissioning thing done, which most of the towns, quite honestly, are way, way off in the dark about decommissioning fees, way off in the dark. But the thing that everybody's missing is nobody's doing O&M. And what that means to you is right now I've got one current complaint, and I've had a complaint in the past of the noise that these things create if they're put too close to a residence when they have the tilting panels. So the majority of the noise comes from the inverters that operate these tilting panels. But then you've got the movement of all these acres of panels that make noise. And right now I'm dealing with one that there's been no maintenance whatsoever, and now they're starting to get noisy. You've got that, you've got the maintenance of the service roads. I've had 2 different fires so far, 2 different solar fields catch fire, where the fire department, they need to get to those spots, and the access roads aren't kept up. I've got one over near Virgil that they haven't mowed that thing since they built it. The goldenrod is halfway up the panels. it looks horrible to begin with, but obviously they're not getting the efficiency out of the panels they should be. But my point is that I think it's important for the town to understand, and this is, I talked to my brother Mike about it from planning these conditions, and I talked to Trish about it. It doesn't, I don't think, Dan, it has to necessarily be part of the solar law itself, but they should be put forth as part of conditions that are accepted. Because if I don't have conditions on my end, I don't have that set of teeth to be able to go after these people. So, just a point, okay?
So, just rethinking, so to be fair about this, we had this on the schedule last month, we tabled it last month. So we do have it on to vote on it tonight, so if somebody wants to make a motion either way, either to move forward or to table it, I think we need to honor that. So I need a motion to either move this forward or to table it.
I'd like to make a motion to move forward with this.
Okay, so then we would need a second. Is there a second on that?
I'll second it.
Okay, you're seconding it. Any other discussion on that? So now I'll call a vote. Those in favor of moving forward with this fee schedule, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed.
So it's gonna move forward, so you get your fee schedule. Now, we can revisit this in the future at any time, but we can.
Yeah, this is a living document. This doesn't have to wait for any local law.
Okay.
That's why we do these resolutions.
The last thing on here is our sales tax. It's been a very sore subject with the county, with the county and the municipalities. As you know, and I've said it before, we're going down from almost 28%, 27.95% down to 16% within 3 to 4 years. So we're losing a boatload of money, every municipality. For the town of Homer, anywhere from 5 to 800,000 we're gonna be losing. It's gonna have a bigger impact on other communities. I called a meeting of all the supervisors and the mayors of the county. They were here last Wednesday night, as a matter of fact. We had a sales tax meeting of all the supervisors and stuff here. We had to come up with an agreement on our share of the money that the county is feeding to us on how we want to develop that split. And there was a formula. You guys left it up to me to represent the town of Homer, the best split. So it was based on property, population, and any combination of the two. I pushed for a 50-50 split, so 50% based on population, 50% based on property value. That wasn't the best for the town of Homer, to be honest with you, but it was the best for every municipality. When you looked at all the numbers, it equaled out for every municipality. If we took what was best for Homer, some of the smaller communities really would have taken a beat. I conveyed that to the supervisors, we talked about it, and the final vote is that's the way we want it. It was unanimous to go 50-50 split. Only 2 municipalities weren't represented here. They want to have supervisors meetings every 2 months now. They thought that was a great idea. It's a lot of work on our part, and we'll host it as long as we don't have a building project. And if we start a building, we may have to call in Cortlandville to use their facility or some other place, or maybe we should move it around a little bit. I told them the only way that I would consider doing another supervisors meeting, you guys got to give us some stuff you want to talk about. I don't believe in meeting just to meet, but there are some shared services that we can look at. Some of the stuff that I brought up, we really got to look at combining courts, and there's other areas that could be combined shared services. Our money's running out. I mean, it's going to have a huge impact on our tax base. We're going to be, in 4 years, probably doubling our tax rate. Homer has the lowest tax rate in the state, the second lowest in the state. It isn't going to stay that way. We're going to go up. But every municipality is faced with the same thing. Cortlandville is going to hurt Cortlandville very dramatically. They're the big, they're going to take a good haircut just like we are. We call it a haircut. But every municipality, the villages is going to suffer, the village of Homer. So we're preparing for that. I know we went 20 years without hardly ever raising our taxes, but we're going to have no choice. We have no other way of making this. We run lean. I mean, as Kyle and, Kyle and I were looking over these numbers, one way to save some money is quit plowing the roads for the county. That's not being retaliatory towards the county, it's a fact of what the town of Homer financially can do, and I'm looking very seriously at that. So we're gonna be forced to raise our taxes. And anything else, some of these fees are gonna help us, that offset some of our costs. We gotta be looking at that and thinking about that going forward. And we're gonna have to do a very good job of communicating with our public in the community why our taxes are going up. We're being forced to do it. And the county's got their problems, and I can't speak for the county, but it's a trickle-down effect. We have no lower level to trickle down. The state trickles down to the county trickles down to the municipalities. We are as low as it can go. We are the direct line. Now, unfortunately for us, our clerks will get beat up on tax day when the taxes come in because people just, why did my taxes go up so much? That's where we're at. Any questions on that?
My question would be, this is above and beyond the upcoming reval? This is separate from
The revalue is a very necessary too, because our split is property value, so we're at 63%. If we get to 100%, that changes the split. So every community that gets to 100%, if every community was at 100%, it would stay the same. The communities that have already gone through a revalue at 100% are getting a bigger share. The ones that haven't revalued are getting a little lower share. We're on schedule. I mean, this is one of the things that the town of Homer was lax on, but we are on schedule. It's a 2-year process. Kyler, talking to Luann, their supervisor, they cannot hire anybody to do a revalue. They're a small community. These small communities are suffering. They can't get the services because the assessors are busy and they're looking at, okay, town of Homer's worth X number of dollars. I'm telling you, we're spending what, 48,000, 50,000, I forget the exact number. They're gonna look at Kyler, that's a 13,000 because of their population. So they're going to the bigger ones and you can't blame them, but that's the reality out there right now. So that maybe we do have shared assessor's office and that may be someplace else that we do more shared services, but that would have to be worked out with Brian Fitz and stuff. So unfortunately, but because your assessment rate went up doesn't necessarily mean your taxes are going to go up because our tax value should come down. We need to raise, say, $3 million a year in taxes just because your assess rate goes up and hopefully that'll help offset some. But yeah, it's definitely going to affect. Some people are going to pay more, some will pay less. Any other questions on that? It's an unfortunate situation we're in, but that's what we're dealing with. Anything else, Dan? Do you have anything?
No, I was gonna bring up the solar project, but that was covered pretty well, so.
Okay. Any other board member have any concerns they want to voice or questions? With that, I adjourn the meeting. Thank you, guys. I told you we had our one evening meeting. You're not gonna get any easier for the rest of the day.